Welcome to part 2 of the Legoz Quick Start presentation. In this session, the creation of a data source and the application of the necessary security roles are covered. The following steps are undertaken. A data source is created within the system. Security roles are assigned to control access. Different roles are configured with varying levels of access, based on the security measures established in part 1 of this presentation. The session now proceeds to a detailed exploration of Legoz. With the demo developer, demo owner, demo super user, and demo user accounts created and assigned roles as outlined in part 1 of this module, the next step is to demonstrate how role-based security operates within Legoz. Each user is granted access to specific functionalities based on assigned roles, providing a clear illustration of how security measures are enforced. To interact with data or data objects within the system, access must be assigned at various data levels. Access can be granted at either the data source level or the data object level, utilizing the roles created previously. Assigning access at the data source level provides users associated with those roles with access to all entities identified through the discovery process. These entities are accessible within the object builder. Access at this level enables broad interaction with data across the system. Alternatively, access can be assigned at the data object level. Users associated with roles configured at this level are only able to interact with the specific data objects to which access has been granted. This approach enables more granular control over access to individual data objects. It should be noted that additional security features, such as row-level and attribute-level access, can be configured to provide further control. For more information on these features, refer to the Configuring Data module. By utilizing these access controls, organizations can ensure that users interact with data in a secure and controlled manner, supporting data integrity and compliance with organizational policies and regulatory requirements. The demonstration now proceeds with the creation of a data source. In this example, a connection is established to the internal Microsoft SQL music library database named Chinook. Begin by selecting the Legoz Explorer item, then select Data Sources. This action opens the data sources tree, displaying a list of all data sources accessible to the signed-in user. Select the Add Data Sources button to initiate the creation process. This action opens the Create Data Source modal. Complete the required fields for the new data source. Data source code. Enter a unique identifier for the data source, for example demo_Chinook_db2. Description. Provide a brief description, such as Microsoft SQL Music Library Database. Type. Select the appropriate data source type using either the drop-down menu or the relevant icon. In this case, MS SQL is selected. Enable pushdown algebra. This option is selected by default where the chosen data source type supports pushdown algebra. Discoverable. This option is selected by default. It is unselected for non-discoverable data sources. For further information on data source types, pushdown algebra, and distributed data sources, refer to the General Concepts Training module. Selecting the type option triggers the display of the relevant parameters for the chosen data source within the modal. Enter the connection parameters for the data source. Complete the parameters as follows. In this example, the Fraxsys headless server is used to connect to the local Chinook database. Port, enter 1433. Database, enter Chinook. Username, enter SA. Password, enter the password of the data source. Once all required parameters have been entered, the Next button becomes enabled. Selecting the Next button saves the data source parameters and opens the Select Entities to be Discovered modal. Within this modal, entities can be selected individually using the arrow next to each item, or all entities can be selected using the Select All option. With the entities selected, the Next button becomes active. A Cancel Discovery button is also available should the action need to be aborted. Select the Next button to initiate the discovery of data source entities. The Discovery Status modal will open, displaying the following information. Discovery ID, the unique identifier assigned to the discovery job. Start and end date, the timestamps indicating when the process began and completed. Entities being discovered, a count of the entities selected for discovery. Discovery status, this may reflect one of 4 states: created, processing, completed, or cancelled. Discovery progress, displays progress across the various discovery steps. Progress, This updates to show a green 100% bar once the Spark process is completed. It should be noted that the data source discovery process can be cancelled at any point prior to reaching the completed status by selecting the Cancel Discovery button. Once the discovery process is complete, select the Close button to exit the modal. Select the refresh icon on the Explorer to refresh the data source tree. Select the Demo Chinook DB data source. The Data Source tab will open. With the data source now created and discovery complete, the processes available within the Data Source tab can be reviewed. Config opens the data source configuration modal, where the configured settings for the data source can be viewed. Entities displays the data source entities. Attributes lists all attributes associated with the entities. Relationships displays the relationships between entities. Access opens the data source access modal, where access to the data source can be assigned. Note that the super user role is granted full access by default. Discovery status opens a grid displaying the history of discovery attempts for the data source. Selecting the three-dot icon on the right-hand side of each record opens the Discovery Progress modal, providing a detailed view of the discovery status at that point in time. To assign access to the data source, open the Access modal. Within the access process, the Assigned Roles list displays all roles associated with the current organization that have super user access, including the Demo Super User role created in Part 1 of this module. To enable demo developer users to develop data objects using this data source, and to allow demo owner users to approve those data objects, the relevant roles must be assigned to this data source. Next, select the arrows next to the demo owner and demo developer roles to link them to the data source. Once linked, the demo owner and demo developer roles will appear in the Assigned Roles list. The Save button can then be selected to apply the changes. Thank you for watching Part 2 of this training module. In Part 3, we'll look at the creation of data objects, applying security roles, and demonstrating the access levels that various users have within the system.